The most vital national security interests of the United States would be most effectively realized, not through hostility to Russia, but through cooperation with it.
Russia and the United States can reach a settlement on the establishment of a global missile defense system.
This planned reset is in jeopardy. Even the new Strategic Arms Reduction Treaty between Moscow and Washington has been unable to help. At a time of warmer bilateral relations, NATO's top brass decided to deploy a missile defense system aimed at protecting Europe. But they were setting up too close to Russia's borders, and Moscow didn't view it as a friendly gesture.
We want to defend the whole of Europe, not just some European countries. We want our European allies and friends to join our missile defense strategy.
In the event of the situation with the European missile defense system becoming unfavorable to Russia, we reserve the right to take no further steps in the nuclear disarmament area.
The Kremlin has repeatedly demanded that NATO guarantees that the European missile defense shield would pose no threat to Russia's strategic interests. So far, the West has refused to cooperate with Moscow on the issue. Topol intercontinental ballistic missiles are transported through snowbound Russian forests under the cover of darkness. Their movements are shrouded in secrecy. The people in charge need to perform training drills and test their hardware on the move. Suddenly, the convoy comes to a halt. There's a forest stream blocking their path. Crossing it's quite a challenge for the drivers of motor vehicles weighing many tons. Especially considering that they're carrying nuclear warheads. Engineers make sure that the heavy launchers safely reach the opposite bank. With the most hazardous hurdle behind it, the convoy is on the move again. As the convoy forges ahead to its destination, they leave the forest and pass through villages. The sound of powerful engines thundering past is becoming a common occurrence lately for local people.
We need such missiles to defend Russia. We would be crushed if we didn't have them. That's all there is to it. When you hear them rumbling past, you get a sense of great might. There is no doubt we will be able to defend our country.
Without an agreement with the United States on missile defense, and in the face of potential military threats, Russia is compelled to think of countermeasures. The country has declared in the past that it may withdraw from the Strategic Arms Reduction Treaty, and said it will introduce measures to counter the missile defense shield.
We will go ahead with the deployment of our missile defense system. It is obvious that this presupposes deployment of its components in Poland and Romania and a radar station in Turkey. Obviously, this will also entail the establishment of a base in Spain for American ships equipped with the Aegis system.
It is obvious that the missile defense system will be targeted at the Russian Federation rather than some mythical Middle Eastern countries possessing virtual missiles.
At least 15 countries around the world have been involved with the NATO missile defense shield. There are radar stations in Denmark and Britain, which is also host to interceptor missiles. Canada too is going to join the project. Anti-missile functions will be given to NORAD, the agency responsible for North America's air and outer space defense. Japan has decided to assist the NATO missile defense shield. It's taking part in the manufacture of Aegis interceptor missiles. Japan is going to build a forward-based radar station on its territory. A similar radar station has already been built in Turkey. The Czech Republic, Romania, Hungary and Poland are ready to allow NATO's missile defense complexes to be placed on their territory.
The forward-based American military presence, which means deployment of bases in post-Soviet republics, notably in Central Asia, is an element of U.S. global domination. As a powerful ramified infrastructure, any military base has the capacity to deploy units of agents supplying electronic intelligence.
Russia has taken adequate measures to counter such actions. But unlike NATO, it confines its activities to its own territory. A radar station is being put on combat duty in the Kaliningrad region, Russia's westernmost part. Iskander tactical missile systems are being deployed in the country's west and south. They can hit any target within a radius of up to 500 kilometers. What is most important is that the Russian ballistic missiles are being gradually equipped with new warheads capable of overcoming NATO's missile defense system. This lift carries people down to a secret radar station in European Russia. It's tucked away deep underground. In a few minutes' time, Major Kashuk will be on duty to protect Russia's outer space.
Everything about the station is classified. The equipment behind these doors is the responsibility of special officers. The station itself can operate autonomously. It has its own power source and water supply and a ventilation system.
Washington knows only too well that Russia can easily control the entire airspace of Eastern Europe. This radar is one of the instruments. The military installation protects the Moscow region from attack by ballistic missiles. It's thought to be controlled by Russia's president, who's also commander-in-chief of the armed forces. Some time ago, Russia suggested to the United States that they jointly control outer space over the Middle East, using a similar radar transmitter stationed in Azerbaijan. If NATO's top brass agreed to cooperate, they would receive reports of any unauthorized Iranian missile launches that Washington would see as a threat to America.
Iran has developed ballistic missiles capable of hitting targets in the Middle East and Eastern Europe. This poses a threat to U.S. interests in the region.
I don't agree with the U.S. government belief that this is a serious problem. What Iran is doing is they are using very simple, nothing is simple about rockets, but they're using very early generation rocket technology. The only rockets they could build that could reach the United States would be enormous in size and not be mobile. That is to say, they would have to be launched from fixed locations where the United States and Russia, if Russia joined the United States, could monitor these missiles.
Many in the United States dislike the views of Theodor Postol. He maintains that the European missile defense system is ineffective. The scientist estimates that it has no chance of protecting the United States from Iranian missiles. Instead, it creates problems for Russia.
If Russia believes this defense is not needed, but it doesn't pose a theoretical threat to Russia, my guess is that the Russian government will say, okay, if you want to spend your national treasure on this, we'll help you. So it solves the political problem, and it provides a much more capable defense than what the United States is currently building, and incidentally would also be much cheaper.
The professor believes that the purpose of NATO's radar in Europe is to track the movements of Russian strategic weapons and to monitor Russia's new military technologies.
The real target could be Russia, but certainly it makes the people of Europe less safe It draws them in fact, as a geostrategic pawn by great powers as they maneuver and use the missile defense shield not as a way to defend Europe, not as a way to defend anybody, in fact, but to provide a first strike potential capability against the adversary.
This is how we are going to train ourselves in order to be ready for any situation.
These people crossing a field of cow parsnip have serious worries about the global situation. They feel that as long as nuclear weapons exist, they need to know how to protect themselves. If they're to survive in the face of a real threat, they need to have everything necessary close at hand. The coach tells them that a compass and a mobile phone are unlikely to help.
The problem is that we can only get our bearings by looking at tree branches. There are more branches on the side where they are exposed to sunlight. That side points to the south.
The people involved in a survival experiment will have to cover several kilometers in full gear. Their training mission is to reach an abandoned military base where they can hide from the harmful effects of radiation.